Have crypto bros really rotated to AI? In this video, I'm going to break down what I'm seeing from a charting perspective when it comes to crypto, when it comes to AI, and my view on this whole crypto bros rotation that you may have been seeing online. Remember, this is according to my research. Please do your own work. If you do want to keep up to date with what I'm doing when it comes to markets, check out my free newsletter. Link to that will be in the description. If you're using the news, you're late. This is like common knowledge. This is easy. If you're seeing podcasts like Crypto Bros are done, they've gone to AI, they've gone to memory, they've gone to this, they've gone to that. Just remember that crypto is down 50% off its highs, and memory and tech, AI stocks are at all-time highs. So you've got to always put this into perspective that the person clearly creating this was not positioned for either, or he doesn't care to be positioned and he's just creating it for media purposes. So, every publication that has mentioned that, just bear that in mind, definitely. Crypto has been bearish really since October 2025. Maybe not since then, but, it's not gone higher since then. And, that's approaching a year, right? So crypto has been in a bear market. So, of course, these things are going to be happening. And as, we know, the news is always a lagging indicator. All right, financial news does not predict the news. If you're relying on Bloomberg to tell you what to invest, you're a step behind the person writing the Bloomberg article, right? So you need to really bear that in mind. If you're relying on the news to make decisions, always going to be late. Price leads narrative. This narrative has been created because Bitcoin or crypto has gone down 50%, and Qs, tech, whatever you want to call it, is at all-time highs. Remember this. Picture this. Pictures. Cool. Nice one. Now you remember. So look, this is the crypto total market cap. It's clearly bearish off its highs. This is a monthly chart. It's gone below there. It's kind of hovering in this area. If it goes below, kind of here and closes probably below that wick, that's very worrying. But you could argue the rotation or the sell-off in crypto started here, not here. But this is when the articles are being created. So always remember that. The chart shows the peak clearly. Everything since then has been lower, and it's been going lower on the monthly. It's not a pullback, it's a trend change. The narrative is just catching up now that crypto's in a bear market, all this stuff, so always bear that in mind that these narratives, really people should be, has the rotation started? That would be great. It's like, oh wow, I can actually use this, or this could be actual, because the risk to reward of this rotation might be better. And here we have Qs, as you can see here. When we had October, we were kind of finished that, we were consolidating. If you would say rotate out, bang, and then you would have got just kind of down there, right? So, so yeah, look, I think the long-term trend is clear. The recent recovery and push new highs happens as crypto is falling. So one thing I do think would be interesting to see is will crypto finally decouple away from tech? It's looking that way so far. Is that something we're going to see over the next few weeks, the next few months? Because it is looking that way. If I'm going to be completely honest, it will be interesting to see if Bitcoin can move as its own thing. But yeah, look, the rotation, kind of going back to that, it's recovered since that period. It's gone all-time highs, and now we're seeing the people have left crypto. People aren't interested, and people aren't going to be interested in this, and people are going to be interested in that, right? So you saw with commodities. People were commodity traders. There was gold, silver, bulls, appearing out of nowhere, copper bulls. And at the end of the day, it's just because it was moving, just because it was trending, because it was hot. Bitcoin was the rage here. It was the thing, all right? And that changed there. So remember, price always leads narrative. So look, by the time it's on the news, you're too late. Have crypto bros rotated, I guess, out of crypto, and have they gone to AI? Yes, maybe, who knows, who cares? Have you done that? That's probably the question you've got to be asking yourself. The rotation happened absolutely ages ago. It didn't happen in summer 2026. When you see the rotation headlines, you've got to be thinking to yourself, oh, okay, is the trade done? Or is, part of the trade done? Or is most of the money to be made in this rotation trade done? That's what you've got to be asking yourself. This is exactly why the news is useless as a timing tool, because it's always way too late. The money's already been made when it's on the news. Price leads narrative. The October 2025, crypto top was the signal, right? So by the time the journalist wrote the article, it's gone 50%. So what I'm looking at now, tech's it's been quiet over the summer. You can see June was bullish in parts, but If you look at July, it's been, kind of breaking down. Looks like we're going to have a pretty, bearish monthly close kind of coming into that. Crypto's been beaten down, but the risk to reward in crypto, you could argue, could be better now because it's down so much and because Qs is up so much. So that's something definitely to consider. So a monthly close, back above, the crypto market cap breakdown level would be the first sign. So I'd start to look for some reclaims on crypto, some higher time frame moving average crossovers would be a good sign. And this is what I'm covering in my newsletter every week. So if you don't want to keep up to date, with this stuff, obviously do check that out. If you're using the news to trade, off the rotation, you're too late. You can't use the news when it's in the news. Think, okay, cool. The risk to reward for crypto might actually be really good because of all this stuff. Tech tends to be quiet. Crypto's quite beaten down. Watch them both carefully. You still need to be showing up every day or every week, and you still need to be watching. The chart tells you all of this before the news. There was no news announcements there, no news announcements there. The price is price, right? So you've got to remember that. So yeah, look, remember, check out my newsletter. Link to that will be in the description. I'll see you in the next one.